Are you ready to perform at your highest potential? Welcome to the Performance Matters podcast from GP Strategies, your talent transformation partner. In each episode, we'll interview industry experts and explore best practices and innovative insights to help your organization improve performance.
One of the big challenges that we face now is the length of those courses, the number of courses, and obviously the learner fatigue that flows from that. And I think this is where we've generated the bad reputation and the challenges that come with digitalizing compliance training.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most significant things about compliance, actually, while we're still on the kind of just sort of sorting out where it is and what we're talking about, it's absolutely push learning. It is absolutely push learning in every way.
Yep.
And it's not really evolved much further from that. Whereas the kind of a lot of the other work I've been doing has changed hugely over the years. Whether it's become, more blended or a mixture of push and pull, or more resource-based or more flexible and all the other things. But compliance, because of what it is, because of where it's come from and the very, very hard and indeed serious business requirements that are laid down, has remained in its sort of own form still, and that's as a result of all of these sort of challenges that have evolved over the years. So when we're thinking about those challenges, where do we start? What has made it like it is now?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few, unfortunately. So let's work through the list. And I think it's really helpful to look at the origins of these challenges, because as you say, I think that's why compliance training has been slow to change. And I think understanding why that is really important if we're going to move the dial. And test how far we can move the dial for compliance training. So I think probably first and foremost, I would probably say that one of the biggest challenges, which is true today, particularly probably true today, is the fact that compliance training can be weaponized by organizations. And what I mean by weaponized is that it can be used, and probably understandably so, as a defensive shield by organizations and senior managers. And I think that's particularly evident in highly regulated industries like financial services, where there is an increasing focus on corporate liability and particularly personal accountability at a senior management level. So, and probably it's probably true for all industries, in fact, that there is a general trend in regulation and legislation globally for organizations and their senior management to have to put in and be able to demonstrate reasonable procedures within their organizations. And those include training. So a failure to deliver training and a failure to be able to demonstrate that you've delivered it, which is equally important, can lead to the organization and or its senior management being penalized. So they've got skin in the game. If they cannot demonstrate that they have trained their staff on absolutely everything and show chapter and verse in that course, then they could personally be liable. So it's no wonder that senior management want to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, into the training. That's the way it is, and we're increasingly, unfortunately, at the moment, moving in that direction in terms of regulation and legislation.
Yeah. So there's a very, very different kind of requirement for why compliance learning exists, and the checkbook is is firmly in the hands of the organization and what they need from it, not necessarily balanced in favor of the learner and what they need from it. That's my take on it. And the other thing is, and I know we've talked about this, is that comes out of that is that the SMEs, the subject matter experts, are, it feels to me, very, very much the drivers of the design and the experience because of all of that. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean they're a really key part of that. So the SMEs are the ones who are really responsible for protecting the organization and the senior management, and they're often part of that senior management team themselves. So the compliance officer is a very senior person within particularly a financial services institution. And it's understandable that they want to protect themselves. And it's those compliance professionals, I guess, the ones I mentioned earlier, who used to write and deliver the training within the firm, and they still have that big say on content. So the sort of death by PowerPoint, I guess, in a digital world is now death by pop-up. I'm sure we've all seen reams of content produced from an SME, an internal SME, to populate a single page of digital learning. And the only way you can do that is, putting 12 pop-ups, each with scroll bars on the page. So we haven't gone away, I think, from that problem of the very heavy technical content and the courses just getting longer and longer.
The Performance Matters podcast is brought to you by GP Strategies. Together, we can create a world where business excellence makes possibilities achievable. You can subscribe to the show anywhere you get podcasts or listen on our website at gpstrategies.com.